Welcome to the Live to Shoot podcast. My name is Jeff Dowdle, and I've been a licensed firearm dealer for the last 18 years. And this podcast talks about all things related to the Second Amendment, as well as anything else going on in the world, a sports story, or anything else I might find interesting. So welcome. Yes, this is the Live to Shoot podcast, and here we cut through the noise, we stand up for our God-given rights, and we talk straight about what it means to be free. And if you're a patriot who believes in the Constitution, you're in the right place. So welcome. First, before we get started, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Easter Resurrection weekend. This is the day that we all Christians, we celebrate the death, burial, and resurrection of our Savior, Jesus Christ. And just celebrate that. And if you don't know and you have not accepted Jesus as your Savior, I beg you to at least investigate it, ask questions. You can ask me questions if you want. Inquire, find out what it's all about, because there is only one way, and his name is Jesus. But now, let's get on to the Second Amendment. Today we're diving into a case that's been out for a while, but it could shake up the foundation of the anti-gun nonsense that we're getting across the country. It is a Supreme Court case called Snopes v. Brown, and it has been out lingering for a while. And what it is, it's Maryland's so-called assault weapons ban is on trial, and it's been sitting in front of the Supreme Court waiting for its moment to be either upheld or let tyranny creep further. So, grab some coffee, your favorite range bag, and let's get into the background, the stakes, and what's at stake with this case today. So let's set the stage. First, Snopes v. Brown is a Second Amendment case challenging Maryland's Firearms Safety Act of 2013. This law bans a laundry list of firearms, AR-15s, AK pattern rifles, and other semi-automatic rifles that the anti-gun crowd loves to demonize as assault weapons. It also limits the capacity to 10 rounds and throws in a bunch of other bureaucratic hoops for law-abiding citizens. Maryland claims it's about public safety, but we all know it's about control. The plaintiffs were led by Dominic Bianchi and the Field Traders LLC, along with the other gun owners and businesses, said enough is enough. They filed suit arguing that Maryland's ban violates their Second Amendment rights. Why? Because the firearms, AR-15s especially, are some of the most commonly owned rifles in America. We know that, right? They're used for self-defense, sporting, hunting, you name it. And calling them weapons of war is a tired lie, and the data backs it up. And the rifles of any kind are used these rifles are used in a fraction of crimes. Now, this case has been going on for years. The Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld Maryland's ban in a 10-5 decision, claiming it doesn't violate the Second Amendment. Their reasoning? They leaned on that old flawed argument that these firearms aren't suitable for self-defense. They're too dangerous and unusual. That's nonsense, and we know it. The AR-15 is the most popular rifle in the country. Tens of millions of Americans own them. Dangerous and unusual? Tell that to anybody that's moms or dads that have protected their houses with these types of guns. Now, here's the kicker. In 2022, as we've talked about here before, Bruin changed everything. Bruin said gun laws must be consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulations. No more balancing tests, no more public safety excuses. If the government wants to restrict your rights, they have to show a historical precedent from the founding era. And guess what? Maryland's ban doesn't have one. That's why the plaintiffs are pushing this to SCOTUS, and that's why we're all watching. So how did we get here? And where are we now? Well, after the Fourth Circuit's ruling, the plaintiffs didn't back down. They filed a petition of certiorari asking the Supreme Court to take up the case. The court has been sitting on this case for a while, conferencing it multiple times. Most recently on April 11, 2025. Just this month, according to Post. It's a big deal, folks. When SCOTUS keeps relisting a case, it often means they're seriously considering it. They're looking at the briefs, the amicus filings, and the broader implications. Now, the court hasn't officially granted cert yet. And there's people out there that have been tracking it very closely, pointing out that SCOTUS has added Snopes v. Brown to its February 21-25 conference, along with other segment cases like Ocean Tactical. But if the court takes Snopes, we could see arguments this fall with a decision by mid-2026. But why the hesitation? Well, there's a lot of opinions out there. Some say SCOTUS has been timid on the cases they passed on similar this year, but the dissent in the denial was fury, almost 100 pages tearing into the Fourth Circuit logic. This tells me at least a few justices like Thomas or Alito are itching to tackle this if they grant cert. It's because they've got the votes to make a statement. And that's one of the other concerns is why haven't they granted? Because maybe they're afraid that they don't have votes, that the squishy Amy Coney Barrett, for one, and Judge Roberts have both been very squishy. But it is very clear from the Bruen case that this case definitely falls under that precedent. But so that's why the stakes can't be higher. A win in Snopes would strike down not just Maryland's ban, but similar laws in states like California, New York, New Jersey. It would build on Bruen and Heller, submitting that modern sporting rifles are protected by the Second Amendment. But a loss, it'd give the anti-gun states a green light to keep chipping away at our rights. So we have to hope that when this gets picked up, we have the votes. So let's get real for a second. Snopes v. Brown just isn't about Maryland. It's about every American value. The anti-gun lobby wants you to believe that these rifles are only for criminals and militias, but you know the truth. We've seen the stories, homeowners stopping intruders, citizens defending their families, and the AR-15 is the modern musket, and it's our right to own one. This case also tests whether the Supreme Court will stand by its own precedent. There's been many, many states that have been thumbing their nose at the Supreme Court since Bruen came along. It was a game changer, but lower courts like the Fourth Circuit are still playing games, twisting history to uphold bans. If SCOTUS takes on Snopes and rules for plaintiffs, it'll send a clear message: no more judicial activism, no more ignoring the Constitution, and we need more of that. We've got to put an end to these crazy judges. So, here's what we can do. Stay informed. Follow groups like Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition. They're filing briefs and Snopes and keeping the pressure on. Second, keep protecting your rights. Get in the range, train, practice. Show that your responsible gun ownership is the norm, not the exception. And third, tell your friends and even the anti-gun uncle at the Thanksgiving, facts about gun control. Remind them that the Second Amendment isn't just about hunting. If you're in Maryland or another banned state, don't lose hope. Calling cases like Snopes are why we fight. So, thank you for today. Share this podcast. Trying to keep people informed. Quick little bites every week that gives you an idea of what's going on. We're going to keep our eye on this Snopes v. Brown. We're going to hopefully it'll get picked up here soon and be scheduled to be heard by the Supreme Court, and maybe in their next session and coming up soon. But we have got to get these types of cases overturned, and I will try and keep you informed as much as I can. Share it. Follow me. Do whatever you can, but stay informed. Stay informed because that's the only way we can protect and defend our rights. Thank you again. Happy Easter. Enjoy your weekend, and I will talk to you later.